What the fuck is going on, you goddamn degenerates? You tuned your digital dial to the home of casual MMA carnage, the only S-tier radio show coming to you every weekend to fulfill that combat quota. This is episode 6 of Just Bleed Radio. It's Sunday, Bloody Sunday, September 24th, 2023, and we're coming at you with another jam-packed episode. I got my brothers in blood, Danger Mouse, No Special, and Super Dave by my side, and as always, I'm your humble host, Lazybed. Despite me being sicker than dog shit, we're here with your usual breakdowns and so much more. So hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and stick around for the festivities. UFC 296, live from Las Vegas, now sees Raw Dog Brandon Royval facing current champ Alexandre Pantoja for the 125-pound strap in the co-main, followed by the return of Colby Covington versus incumbent champion Leon Rocky Edwards for welterweight gold in the main event. This stacked card will also feature the corpse of Tony Ferguson taking on the little lad Paddy Pimblett, as well as both Shavkat Rakhmonov versus Wonder Boy Stephen Thompson and the silent assassin Vicente Luque against rising Irish star Ian Machado Gary. Needless to say, we're in for an absolute treat in the coming weeks, and spirits are high in the MMA community. Do any of these matchups in particular stand out to you guys? What's your general feeling about all these major announcements? And yeah, tell us what you think.
All right. Well, let me go first because I gotta get this out of the way. First off, I gotta talk about my hatred of Colby Covington getting a title fight. I cannot stand the idea of this man being able to sit out for over a year with his one win, and in recent, I think it was over 16 months of non competition, is over a man who retired off of a 4-5 losing streak, Jorge Masvidal. Yeah, I hate this. I hate everything about this. All he would have had to do is fight Gilbert Burns, Bilal Muhammad, or hell, even he could have fought and chosen Sean Brady, which he probably could have honestly beaten. Even Michael Chiesa, he probably could have fought him and beat him. Leon Edwards literally had to fight over 12 people just to get to the point where he's a champion. And yet Colby Covington could just kind of be like, nah, I don't want to fight anybody. A year and a half later comes back. I kind of want to fight somebody, and it's only for the title. Yeah, sure, Colby. Yeah, why not?
Yeah, his last 3 or 4 wins are coming off guys who were all older than 36 and had all come off 2 losses or something like that. I think I saw Lucas Tracy talking about today. So, yeah, completely undeserved title shot for Colby, I'm afraid.
Some bullshit. Just some stupid bullshit. I like the matchup as it is, like a wrestler, not similar to Usman, who's got decent hands. His cardio is going to hold up, but with this kind of fight, it would have been nice to see him at least get one fight, just one fight, and then maybe I could be more interested in the fight. But then they're trying to tell me, I remember a lot of the outside media of the UFC was more like, well, this is just going to happen. This is just going to happen. I'm thinking to myself, as a fan who watches the sport, why am I supposed to be happy about this fight? I don't know. I understand that there's like a clogging of the division at the top, but that's Colby's fault. And on top of it, they ran back a rematch of a fight that, it was competitive the second time around, but the first time it looked like it was almost over, and then it completely switched the entire division on its head. And then, sure enough, we're here now with Leon having not fought in 9 months. And I'm pretty sure that wasn't by his design. It irks me a lot. It irks me so much. I needed to get that off my chest.
What does Colby have on Dana that got in this fight? That's the question.
That's the other thing too. What is it? There's nothing that is. Colby's not a pay-per-view star. He's not even a main event guy that you can count on a regular basis. I think he only had maybe 2 or 3, and even then, on top of it, like he had the interim title fight with RDA. That wasn't even the main event.
I think that the current number is 2,000 plus days since he's beaten an opponent coming off a win.
Oh my God, that's even worse.
Plus.
It's even worse.
It is what it is, I guess. Dana White privilege, dare I say?
Fully loaded.
Oh, I don't even think it's that. I think they literally just don't like any of the other contenders. And it's like, really, because you have Shavkat Rakhmonov there. You have Bilal Muhammad, who can kind of talk up a game, even if he is kind of cringy. But, like, he has some kind of personality. And then you have, like, guys in the wings, Jack Della Maddalena. You have Ian Gary. You have other contenders who are still around and still kicking. Like, there was a way you could have made this work. We burned Gilbert Burns having a 3-fight winning streak on Bilal Muhammad, who wasn't even 100% to begin with. Like, any one of these guys could have fought Colby once, and Colby could have at least said, okay, I fought a contender and been ready. But now it's like, okay, well, we just kind of wasted everybody's time with this.
Yeah, I've just looked at Colby's biggest pay-per-view. He got 700,000 against Usman the second time they fought. Other than that, I can't see we're in any big numbers.
Nothing compared to that, though, right?
I'm just scrolling down the list now, and I can't see anything else at the moment.
So his biggest fight.
I'm into the 300,000s, and I haven't seen him since that fight.
Well, also, let's keep in mind a lot of the fights for Colby have been, like, they're not really disclosing pay-per-views that much anymore, so a lot of his fights on pay-per-view cards might not have been disclosed as far as buy.
Do you think there's a policy that they keep on hand, or is it just like, well, when they get the numbers, they're not going to dispute it?
Yeah, everybody went quiet.
No, I asked a general question. I don't know who's going to...
I was too busy scrolling through the pay-per-views list, and I wasn't paying that much attention. Sorry.
Well, because that is a thing where it's like that somebody will get a hold of numbers and then kind of throw it out. Like, we're generally thinking this is what it could be. This isn't accurate, but this is what they usually are, like they used to with the pay-per-view buys beforehand. Now they still have people who can get a hold of numbers. They're not the exact numbers, but they're close. And even the fighters are even saying what they're like O'Malley said he was like over 500,000 in his pay-per-view win over Aljamain Sterling, right?
Yeah.
And even Aljamain, I think, had said at one point, I think he said he made over 250,000 buys at one of his against Cejudo. Like, there's ways to get the numbers. It's just not easy, I guess.
There is ways to get the numbers. I mean, I think Dana White and the company brass and ESPN might have access to the numbers, and they might let on to the fighters some of the numbers. But I think unless you're fighting under the right commission, they are like not available anymore. And you can put about as much faith into them as those fake paydays that get released.
Yeah. That's fair.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not upset about Colby getting his title shot. I mean, for a long time, he looked like the number 2 welterweight in the world. And, I thought the UFC did kind of do him dirty by taking the title fight or taking the interim belt from him just because he couldn't do the fight on their timetable or whatever. And, he did offer to fill in on short notice for the title fight. And I'm not sure anyone else deserves a title fight right now. So, fuck it.
When you play the company man for UFC, and they have a tendency to slide you a little bit of extra butter on your biscuit.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's a secret at all. Like, Dana loves his company guys, and he treats them well. So,
Mm-hmm.
Do you call Colby a company guy, though? I wouldn't.
Yeah, I think so.
He's the same dude who recorded Dana literally playing poker with a random woman.
Blackjack.
Yeah, but that was in the past. I think he's become like a yes man since then.
He hasn't even fought anybody else since Usman. Or, I'm sorry, since Masvidal, though. That's the thing. Is like.
But he said yes to filling in short notice. Like, I'm not aware of him turning down opportunities Dana presents to him.
Well, that's different than accepting fights, though.
Is it?
I think it is, because in my opinion, Dana doesn't like people that don't like to fight. what's his thing? It's like, if you don't want to fight, that's fine, but you won't get paid for it.
Well, he also doesn't really require that his like really high ranked fighters even fight all that often. Like
I,
it's kind
I
of
think that
unusual,
is
but I don't think it's that unusual, and I don't think there's a deserving number one contender anyway. Like I don't think he deserves it, but I don't think anyone really deserves it. So let's keep the champ active, and let's just book some fights.
That's a really good point about the activity, especially at welterweight, because welterweight has been stagnant forever, and there doesn't seem to be, until now, any real push or concern to get things moving. And I think that's really my biggest takeaway from all these fights being announced is the amount of welterweight that are on the 296 card. You got, of course, the title fight, and then you've also got Gary and Luque on there. You've got
Gastelum fighting Sean Brady soon.
Yeah, Rachmanov and Wonderboy is also on the same card. So there's a lot of welterweight stuff going on at 296.
R.I.P. Wonderboy. I like you as well.
Yeah, I definitely got shot caught in that one. I'm sorry, Stevie.
Yeah. I could understand him wanting to take on Usman and have a fight against him because it led him to a possible title shot. But fighting a guy who's one rating above him and who's an absolute killer, I don't think that was a very wise career move at all for Wonderboy. And just looking at the rankings, Hamzat is still ranked at number 4, and we know he ain't fighting at 170. Very unlikely.
Yeah, I think Steven just he still thinks that he's almost got like the Ferguson in him a little bit, where he's got that fighter delusion, where he thinks that he's gonna be on another run. And like after his last fight, after what's his name pulled out, he said that he wanted to give an opportunity to a Ponzinibbio, who I think pulled out. And he said he kind of wanted to give an opportunity to an up-and-comer like Gary and Shavkat. And also he feels like if he gets a win over like a young up-and-coming stud, then like he won't be denied some kind of title shot or something like that. Like, I think that's his train of thought.
If he beats Shavkat, he deserves a title shot, quite frankly. The guy's a real killer. You know, 17 fights. Was it 9 submissions and 8 KOs?
Yeah, something like that.
Has a finish for every single fight he's ever competed in.
Yeah.
And he's undefeated. This man is a fucking monster.
Yeah. And he's Sanko's favorite fighter as well. We all know
that.
Well, nobody's going to mention the husk that is Tony Ferguson taking on Paddy the Baddy.
That's another RIP one.
Oh, God.
I don't know. I think Tony's got a chance.
We said that in his last fight.
I kind of, I'm with Dave on the Bobby Green team, so I thought Bobby was going to smoke him. But Paddy, I'm not shitting on Paddy too much, but I think this is the first, I guess, actual test for Paddy in the UFC.
Eric Gordon was the actual test, though. Am I not mistaken?
But I mean, as far as like taking out a guy with some real name value, and I think Tony, at least in the striking department, could give Paddy some fits. So
yeah. If Paddy keeps his chin up as he's fond of doing, it's quite possible that Tony could land something there, and we'll see if he get knocked out or not.
I would love to see Tony split Paddy wide open with a nice elbow.
You think he can do it?
Why the fuck not?
Yeah. Yeah, no, I really like this matchup. I think, Tony's not there anymore, but he's not going to quit fighting. And if he's not going to quit fighting, I don't want to see him match any killers or anything like that. And Paddy's kind of on the lower end of the spectrum of like good UFC level lightweights. And I think it is a winnable fight for Tony. I'm not sure he will get it done, but I don't think he's going to get beat the shit out of and like take a whole bunch of damage.
No, he'll probably get subbed. If he loses, he'll probably get subbed.
Yeah, he might get his back taken or some shit like that. But and also it's a good litmus test for both the fighters. Like Tony maybe shouldn't still be around, but he's going to take fights.
Well, he has dropped out of the top 15 now, so
yeah. And I mean, Paddy I think it's also a winnable fight for Paddy. And the UFC likes making names off their legends, and I'm kind of glad that they would, do it with someone that's not a killer for once, like Frankie Edgar versus Cheeto or something like that. Like it's not, some kind of horrible matchup for Tony. And so fuck it, let these guys fight. Both of them aren't very good, and no one will probably get hurt too bad. Maybe we'll see Patty get all cut up. That'll be fun.
So it's
And I'm
possible.
sure it's got to be a pretty good payday for Tony. That's, Patty the Batty, that's got to be a money fight. Even though it's not going to be a main or co-main, they got to sweeten the pot for him a little bit.
Well, I think his name, gives him enough to get paid decently. But I don't know. It's not ideal. I don't like it at all.
My question really is, where's that fight going to end up on the card? Is that going to be the opener to the main card for 296?
Could be. We've got Edwards versus Covington as the main event. It has to be Pantoja versus Royval as co-main. I can't see Shavkat versus Thompson being much lower down the card. The way they've got it written out on Wikipedia at the minute, which obviously it's not the full card, they've got Tony Ferguson versus Pimblett as the third fight, and then Thompson and Shavkat as the fourth one listed. But as I say, it's only a partial card.
If I was doing it, I would put it to headline the card leading into the pay-per-view, like headline the prelims. But I don't know if Patty thinks he's a star and all that, and he might be like, I only want to fight on the pay-per-view. So I actually think they'll probably make it the second fight on the pay-per-view. Like they tend to not use a name on the lead-ins that much, and I'm pretty sure it'll be the second fight on the pay-per-view card, but it should be the headliner of the prelims.
They could potentially, if they don't use Patty and Tony for the feature prelim, they could use Machado, Gary, and Luque. That's also
that actually might be better for headline in the prelims.
I would much rather seen Gary against Stephen Thompson. Been a much more fun fight.
Yeah. That would have been a treat to watch on the feet.
Yeah.
A treat on your feet.
What do you think about the Pantoja or Pantoja? I'm not going to try and go all Brazilian on his name. Versus Royval. I think that's a fight to make. Does Figueiredo have a fight booked at the moment? Or is he injured? Am I forgetting something?
I think he has a fight booked at 135 against Rob Font.
Yep, that's coming up as well.
That makes sense. I was just curious because obviously he's one of the last guys to beat Pantoja. So you'd think he'd get a shot back at him. I'm a bit surprised at Royval. What did I look at now? Amir Albazi.
Mm-hmm.
I'm kind of curious why he hasn't got a title shot, to be honest. He looks like an absolute killer.
Probably because Flyweight's been so busy with fucking 8 rematches and shit.
Oh, they were good fights, though. If you're going to say anything about
I'm not saying they weren't good fights. I'm just saying, that's maybe why other contenders haven't had a chance because, they had 4 title fights or whatever. And then, I don't think anyone will argue that Pantoja didn't deserve it. So there just hasn't been time, really.
Well, that's the other thing, too, is Pantoja was willing to wait. And then on top of it, I think the reason why he hasn't been able to fight is because he's waiting for his title shot. But that fight against Kai France was disputed, if I remember correctly. It was close, and that was his last fight.
Yeah.
I'm imagining if you're looking at the 2 available contenders, it was either Royval or it was Amir. And that's it. Because everybody else is either coming off a loss or had already fought for the title. And if you need a division to kind of get moving again, you need new contenders fighting for the title, not the same people fighting over it. And also,
are any of you an Amir fan? Fan?
I thought his fight was good.
But are you a fan?
Fan is a strong word, but I admired his ability.
I think now Amir is pretty talented and he looks pretty good, but I'm not sure he has any fans at all. So maybe from his region, but he just never gets brought up. Like I'm kind of surprised Danger actually brought him up. I hardly ever hear of him. I think he just hasn't made a name for himself, and people like that he's even there.
Does he speak English?
I have no idea.
Because that obviously does make a difference when you're trying to get promoted. So arguably why Shavkat hasn't got that bigger social presence compared to, say, Hamzat. Well, very similar fighters, but Hamzat is much, much bigger on social media. Makes a lot more noise about himself.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Honorable mention here that I want to get in before we move on. None of us have brought it up. Roman Dolidze versus Jared Cannonier.
What?
Yeah, that's upcoming.
Is that on 295 or 296?
Not 295. I think this is in December. I want to say December 2nd card it might have been. I don't have it in front of me, but I do have it written down that it's official. Dolidze Cannonier.
I don't understand that fight because Roman Dolidze lost to Vettori, who Vettori just lost to Cannonier in a near 10-8, like several rounds 10-8. Like there's no reason why they should be fighting. Dolidze should have to fight someone lower than him, and Cannonier should honestly be next to fight for the title if it's not Dracus Duplessis. Like that confuses me. That matchmaking doesn't make sense to me at all.
Yeah, by Colby's rules, he deserves a title shot now. So he made weight and stood in.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
And he had to travel all the way to Australia to do it as well. So he definitely deserves it.
Yeah, that does deserve some sort of commendation.
I think I said last week, I'd have liked to have seen Sean try and get his loss back against Cannonier anyway. That would have suited me.
I mean, I don't think Dolidze looked bad in his last fight. And I mean, they've got Cannonier at number 4 now. And I think it's a good matchup. I'm not mad at it.
No, it should be a fun fight. Dolidze's got skills on him.
Well, my whole thing is like if we're just going to be matching people up because they're available, we're not trying to match them up to move them up to the title. You know what I mean? If we're just trying to throw fights,
if Dolidze wins this, it's good progress towards the title.
Cannonier literally has 2 wins, and one of them is over the current champion.
But both fighters can't always be like you win this and you get a title shot. Like
no. I'm merely suggesting that they probably should have booked it after he gets a win. Maybe like if Roman was to fight, let's say, Paulo Costa if he loses, or if he fights, Roman fights Robert Whittaker, you know.
Well, what do you do with Jared Cannonier then? Just does he sit out and wait for him to run Sean, and is he back?
You either give him the opportunity to fight for the title next, or you have him fight Dracus.
I think Dracus has got a better argument for a way better argument for a title shot than Jared.
You're not wrong. Let
me finish.
Okay. It's fine.
All right.
Hold on, brother.
Dracus has the best argument for a title shot. Like Jared's argument isn't anywhere close.
I mean,
if anyone should sit out and wait for a title shot opportunity, it's Dracus, and that's what he's doing. UFC is running back Sean and Izzy.
Literally beat the champion.
UFC is running back Sean and Izzy, and then after that, Dracus is going to get the winner. So it's like, does Cannonier set out for a year, or does he take a fight? And so he's just taking a fight.
I don't even know if they're going to commit to the fight anymore, because even Dana said, well, I don't know. We'll look at it. We'll see. Okay. They weren't even most recently when Dana came back to the press conferences, he said he wasn't committed to it.
Plus, on Izzy's recent interview, he didn't seem to be in any hurry to come back and fight Sean. I think he's quite happy to come in and take someone else, to be honest.
That'd be the best option for him, though, too.
Well, Jared doesn't mind the fight. Like, he accepted it.
Well,
he wants to stay busy.
I just don't think that's the right move for him.
Yeah, I think that's probably what it is, though. It's just Jared wanting to stay busy.
Yeah,
that makes sense for him to take this fight.
I think it's a great opportunity for Dolidze, and it's a very winnable fight for Jared. So, fuck it.
Yeah.
While we're on the topic of Roman Dolidze, I got to shout out our boy Brian Campbell because Dolidze is shacked up with our girl Cheyenne Velismus now. So we know BC
Oh
loves her.
shit.
Shout out BC.
I want to shout out JP Buys for being a legend during all this, just doing his thing.
Didn't he get
Wouldn't
cut?
you call him the? Well, I don't know if he
Yeah,
got
I think he
cut.
got
I think
cut,
he's
and I think he was like really creepy and kind of a stalker too. But
Yeah.
that's still a
Well.
tough to go through.
when you're a cuck, nothing's easy.
Nothing. I'm not even sure what a cuck is. Do you mind breaking it down for me real quick, Austin?
I don't know if I could divulge said information. Or I'm at liberty. God damn it. No. I can't do it, Dave. I'm sorry.
All right. Well, before we move on, also I will say I'm really intrigued by the Sean Brady and Kelvin Gastelum fight too. Really hope to see Kelvin get another win and like a definitive win this time. Sean Brady is a friend of Morning Combat and he's a certified donk. I'm just not sure he's very good at MMA as a whole. And I think it's a good fight for my guy Kelvin to get in there and get a solid win. His last fight was a controversial finish, so hopefully he makes weight and shows up. And I think that will be like, I'm hoping it's a highlight performance for Gastelum and he gets it done with his hands and has a kind of fun show.
I'm going to say it's probably a safe fight for him. I mean, they were originally planning to put him up against Shafkai, right? I don't know how that would have been, and I'm glad he didn't take that fight eventually. This is a better fight for him against a high-level grappler, someone who's not necessarily known for his boxing or striking. He's legitimately going to try to pile drive you and submit you. That's what he does. That's the best kind of fight that Kelvin can get into, and then just kind of get a feel for the division again. I'm interested in the fight. And also, that was the most backhanded compliment I think I've ever heard of a fighter. He's a certified dunk, but I don't know if he's actually good at fighting.
Well, they're not. You can be a good donk and be a legend and kind of suck at MMA.
God, Jesus.
Okay. Like this dude got pieced up by Chiesa and got like TKO. Didn't Bilal TKO him?
He did.
Yeah, but that was Bilal rematched or revived, more or less. Like he finally got leveled up.
Shout out Bilal
Muhammad.
But
that wasn't even Switch fighting Bilal. Like that was before he even got into Switch. Like that was Bilal 1.5.
You train with Khabib, bro. You learn how to channel your inner Khabibiness, and sure enough, it showed up in Abu Dhabi.
Yeah.
All right, guys, you ready to keep this thing moving along? Because I got a feeling we're going to have quite a bit to say about segment 2.
Yeah.
All right, let's go.
All right, guys, another Apex card in the can. This time was headlined by ranked lightweight contenders Rafael Fiziev and Mateusz Gamrot. That's how you say it, Mateusz, in case you didn't know. Johnny told me so. As I said on last week's show, Fiziev entered in off of a tough loss to Justin Gaethje back in March, and Gamrot had split his last two with a loss to Beneil Dariush, followed by a decision win over Jalen Turner. Unfortunately, this one ended in injury, with Fiziev seemingly damaging his plant leg on a kick at 2:03 of round 2. How do you guys feel about this win for Gamrot? And what's this mean for Fiziev now, looking at back-to-back L's here?
Well, I'll just jump straight in on this one. For Fiziev, what it means is about 9 months off and out of the game, maybe a year, I guess, depending how bad the injury turns out. For Gamrot, it's not added to his stock in any way. So I don't think it's really, the fight hasn't taught us a damn thing, to be honest. We're just in the same situation, but Fiziev's out. Just trying to look at the rankings now and see who he's going to fight next, if anyone. And he's after Oliveira, isn't he? So that presumes that Oliveira will lose to Islam, and then Gaethje will fight Islam, and then he wants to fight Olives. So I guess that's what's next for him. It's either that or he fights Michael Chandler, and obviously he's hanging on like a grim death, trying to get his Conor fight. Poirier is not going to fight him because Poirier's bad looks of it is moving up to 170 for some money fights, and Gaethje's, like I say, he wants his title shot, which he has every right to. With the recent competition he's beaten, getting wins over Fiziev and Poirier, he definitely deserves his shot. So yeah, that's about all I've got really to say on that one. It's a shame because the first round was looking quite interesting, pretty close round, and I'm sure things would have got much better as the fight went on. But obviously, blew his knee out. End of fight.
Did we think that was kind of bullshit the way he was celebrating afterwards?
Oh yeah, for sure.
I didn't like it, but he I thought it was the leg he was throwing that he first injured. I was like, well, technically he blocked it and addressed it, and then that caused the injury. But then we found out, because the commentary doesn't know what the hell's going on, that it was actually his plant leg that actually shifted, and you could see the knee kind of buckle, and you're like, oh, that's okay, yeah.
Yeah. It's up there with Grasso celebrating last week at her, in quotation marks, win.
I'll let that one slide more because it wasn't like I thought she won, but it was a close fight. This one's just more like, bro, you actually didn't do anything. You literally blocked a kick at his own leg, injured him somehow.
Yeah, it's like Khabib saying he beat Tony Ferguson because he tripped over a cable.
That's funny though.
Yeah, I thought this one was an interesting fight, but it ended up being almost like a waste of everyone's time. Like, we didn't really learn that much from the fight. I think currently Fiziev is ranked ahead of Gamrot, and I think they might end up swapping places after this fight just because that's how the way MMA rankings work. But as far as how it actually plays out, it's almost like neither of them won or lost. I think Fiziev will recover and get another big fight, and Gamrot is still kind of in the same position he was as a contender, and will have to get another win or two before he's even like looking at a title shot. I know he said he did call out Oliveira, but I think he forgot. He said, I want a title shot, but I don't want to call out Islam yet, so I'm going to call out Oliveira. I think he maybe didn't realize that they already have a fight booked, but I'm not sure if he gets. I think he'll have to fight another contender fight before he gets possibly someone like Oliveira or Islam. So I'm still hoping for Islam to do something like 170 after this next fight or another Volk fight. So I kind of hoping for my own thing to play out.
Fantasy MMA.
Mm-hmm. What did you think of the fight, Lazy?
It was a bummer overall. I mean, of course, I didn't want it to end like that. Actually, I mean, leading up to it, it wasn't quite what I had imagined it was going to be either. So it was different than what I expected coming in, and then of course a different ending than I foresaw. But I think like my biggest thing is, 2 losses in a row now for Fiziev. With this one, however fluky, but 2 in a row in this division is kind of fucking rough. I really like him, but I hope they don't, I don't know, penalize him too heavily for 2 in a row, 2 losses.
Yeah, like I put an asterisk on this loss, like, by injury. And I really think the UFC matchmakers will treat it like a injury kind of thing and not really penalize him and move him back down in the rankings. Like, I think he'll get another, top 6 guy or something like that. And I mean, that's just what I'm expecting.
It should be like Aspinall with Blades, when he blew his knee out. It shouldn't.
Yeah, that's a good. That's a good comparison.
Yeah, it is. That's really good.
Yeah, it's not like he lost the fight. He actually looked really good in it, and then even then was still pressuring. Um, Going into it, I thought it would probably the way that the fight was looking, I thought it actually was going to play out how I thought it was. The way Gamrot was kind of circling out a little bit, looking for entries, not trying to pressure as he usually would, and then Fiziev was actually pressuring a little bit more, powerful strikes, fast strikes, landing accurately. But Gamrot kind of no selling a lot of it. Gamrot also landing maybe one or two strikes of his own throughout the contest, and I looked at it as if like, okay, well, these guys want to get back into the contention because they were both on title contention routes before both of them eventually lost, and then subsequently wanted to get back into it, look to refresh their careers and possibly be title contenders again. I'm thinking at this point, Fiziev just needs to take the time off. He's been fighting at the highest level of this division recently, and he's had some really rough fights as of late. Not taking a ton of damage, but just facing really tough competition. It'd probably do him some good to take some time off, especially with his knee. Come back fresh, ready for whatever's available, and take the first fight that comes along just to get a work in, get an easy victory, and then get back on the win streak. As for Gamrot, his only option is to take somebody coming off of a loss because nobody's going to want to fight backwards, especially in this division currently. As it stands, Poirier would probably be the best matchup for him as far as a guy who has a name and a guy who has a ranking that's right next to the title. But Poirier won't fight backwards, and he won't fight anybody that's got like a less than 1 million followers or some shit.
Does Beneil have a fight booked at the moment?
I believe he is currently supposed to be booked against Armin, if that's rumored. If not, that probably, it's a rematch of a fight they just recently had. I think they less than a year ago.
Yeah.
Because then even if he takes Armin in that one's a rematch of a fight 2.5 years ago, maybe 2. So I would say the best matchup, like you said, Danger, is probably Michael Chandler. And there's a whole fucking rant I have about Michael Chandler. So I'm going to save that until later. But like, it's the only other matchup that'll actually get him somewhere in movement and keep him busy. But at the same time, it gets him closer to his goal of a title fight. It definitely would help him, but that's neither here nor there because this division's stuck in the mud currently.
Yeah, Michael Chandler at 5 really kind of hurts things if he's not going to be active and actually fighting people.
But is it his fault for holding on for that fight, or is it fucking Connor's fault for doing Connor shit and holding this up?
Dana. It's Dana. Connor's going to say whatever he says because he's a fucking cokehead. He's just going to be, doing blow off of hookers off a yacht. The guy literally doesn't care what he's doing. He's literally going to basketball games in Miami to get a hookup for coke, and then literally is getting caught up for doing it, and then has no issues of like, oh, well, maybe I'll fight. Maybe I'll fight. Maybe I'll not. I don't know. You never know these days. Like, are you fucking kidding me, dude? We're waiting for a fight for you to come back to. You won't enter the USADA pool because he doesn't want to get in trouble for testing for drugs, and not the Hansk type. I'm pretty sure he just doesn't want to get found out for doing some random shit. Is what it is. I'm pretty sure that's what his whole thing is. But you're literally making this man, Michael Chandler, waste his whole fucking, prime whatever left of his years are of competing. He could have already fought twice by now compared to how he was fighting beforehand. Michael Chandler could have literally fought 2 guys inside the top 10 and probably lost one and won one and still be in the same spot that he was.
I feel like
he's not forcing Michael Chandler to wait. Like, Michael Chandler's choosing to wait.
Dana is literally the one. That's why I said Dana. Dana's the one that says, oh, yeah, it's going to happen. That's going to be the fight. That's going to be the fight. But he doesn't want to commit to anything because he doesn't know what the hell Connor's going to do. He can make Chandler wait because Chandler's going to be a good boy and wait for his opportunity, just like they said in The Ultimate Fighter. You'll do what you're told. Do what you're told. It's like you were going to fucking make this guy waste his whole fucking time. Like, we could have literally had him fought Armin. We could have literally had him fought Benny. We could have literally had him fought Gamrot or Fiziev or anybody else in the top 10. But no, we're going to make Michael Chandler fucking wait. And now Michael Chandler's in too deep. He's literally in too deep to fucking wait to fight somebody else. He either accepts the fight now and they maybe fight in December, or he has to hope that Conor gives him a fight in January.
Yeah,
I'm still holding that. It's going to be, he's not fighting in December. Conor's not fighting in December. He's fighting next year.
Yeah, you guys better hope you got that bet going on. You don't want to be losing your bot.
I am in no way afraid of giving the bot up. I'm just saying that bot is definitely mine.
All right. Before we move on, we still got to discuss the co-main event here. The co-main event saw Hawaii native 50K Dan Ige pitted against Arkansas's own Thug Nasty Bryce Mitchell. And despite losing all his fruit trees and having dated a witch, Mitchell would pull out a somewhat controversial decision win. Obviously, the real talking points here are Bryce's pre- and post-fight antics, but I wonder how you all saw the fight and what is Thug Nasty's ceiling at featherweight. DM, let's go to you here first on this one.
Overtime. I don't know if you could hear that or not, but I couldn't resist throwing it on in the background there for a couple of seconds. Yeah, Thug Nasty with his camo shorts came out and did kind of, I guess, what we expected him to do. He didn't get a submission, but Ige is obviously pretty handy at his own BJJ. I thought that Bryce won the fight, but I could see. I was watching someone again this afternoon. I think it might have been Guru talking about the fact he was cut in. I can't remember if it was round 1 and round 2. Below the eye and above the eye by Ige, and that could, nudge those rounds in his favour, even though Bryce was much more dominant for the vast part of the round. So a decent enough win, I guess, for Bryce. Nothing spectacular. And as for the entire praying with Dan Ige, I don't think Dan was down for that at all. He just wanted to get the hell out of there, having lost. The
100%.
entire stunt with the Bible. I'm English. We're not very religious on our septadile. So I always kind of cringe when anyone gets very religious in the cage. So yeah.
Please, let Dan pray, please.
That was so funny. Mike Bisping with the probably with the commentator, the production team in his ear going, "Get the fucking mic away from me, quick!"
We're owned by fucking Disney. Get the fuck out of there.
Yeah, I thought it was actually a pretty good fight. I thought Ige might actually could have had the nod with the impact and all that. And I think that the ringside doctor potentially robbed Ige because he went in there and checked the eye, and that thing was fucking shut. There was no way Bryce could see through that thing. I mean, it was closed, and the doctor's like, he's good. So I think Bryce should thank his Lord Jesus and the doctor for kind of helping him out, because I think many other commissions and doctors would have stopped that fight.
That doctor was tired. She'd been in and out of the ring at least 3 or 4 times that night.
Yeah.
Working overtime, that poor girl.
Just fatigue. Fatigue was setting in.
She was over it.
Yeah, I mean, I knew it was going to be a kind of a maybe sketchy decision, but I was actually hoping that Bryce might get the nod just so I can hear what kind of dumb shit he was going to say in his post-fight. And I'm okay with all like the religious theatrics and stuff. I've kind of gotten used to it in MMA, and I think Mike had to be expecting it because it was on Mike and Anthony Smith's podcast last Thursday night, maybe, where he just like kind of went all in on all of his conspiracy shit. So he kind of had to know what was coming. I thought Bryce actually kind of did a tame, the Satan's coming and the apocalypse is coming and we're fighting them and all that. But, I kind of enjoy that kind of stuff. I don't agree with it. I don't believe it. I think it's fun. Felt kind of awkward for Ige, but at the end, they bowed and like put their heads down. So I was like, all right, they're good. And, I actually enjoyed the theatrics more than the fight itself. Though Bryce did have a nice slam and some nice moments on the ground in the fight. That was fun to watch. What?
God, I don't care for Bryce Mitchell because it as good as he is on the ground, it's just his boxing kind of seems kind of like lackadaisical, almost like he doesn't know how to throw proper strikes when he wants to. It's usually kind of like the opposite. Like he'll throw a random decent strike every so often and drop Edson Barboza, or he'll like throw a right hand that like stun somebody and he'll just take him down and not ground and pound more often than not. He's actually a really good jiu-jitsu practitioner. He's got some decent grappling exchanges that he has out of his pocket. Dan Ige actually looked really good. I thought he struggled because Bryce's bread and butter is taking you to the mat and suffocating you. But I looked at the fight thinking, okay, well, Dan has to just keep it standing. If Dan keeps it standing, he's probably got a good chance of winning. Dan tried. You can't say he did it, but he definitely didn't win the fight, I don't think. That being said, I don't like Bryce's chances at all against other people in this division. I mean, as far as Dan's probably the middling level of like a gatekeeper, like an actual, not like in a bad term, but like he's like, if you beat him, you're probably good enough to fight for the title. Doesn't mean you win, especially against Volkanovski, but you have the ability to fight for the title. I don't think Bryce is going to get any other wins other than maybe, Brian Ortega or Giga. And even then, I'd favor both of them to beat him.
Bryce walks all over Giga. Bryce takes down Giga and just wraps him up like a snake.
I don't think he can handle his strikes. If he couldn't handle, getting hit by Ilia Topuria, how's he going to handle getting a back kick to the face? Oh, wait, that's right. He'll probably lean into it because he thinks he can not get knocked out. That works so well for him.
He had the flu. And Topuria and fucking Giga are two completely different fighters. Like
they both are power strikers. By definition, they will look to finish the fight more often than not.
Have you seen Giga's recent fights?
Have you seen what he was beforehand?
Yeah, before.
This fight, he still brought it. It was, of course, he had a rough fight against Cater, who he fought into his range. He gave him the fight because Cater actually pressured him. Bryce doesn't do that. Bryce also looks to take the fight down at all costs. Giga just needs to block a couple of those takedowns, and the next thing you know, he'll probably fucking drop Bryce. But
that's a lot easier said than done than a scrambly fighter like Bryce. Like, I think he's an idiot.
He's done it before.
All his takes are stupid.
I think he's done it before.
But he's a good fighter. He's a fun fighter. I mean, he's not a good striker, but overall, he tends to get the job done in MMA.
That's my thing. Well, against the lower level of the division, we're talking about the top 10. Danny Gay, as much 10? As I love, Giga is in the top 10 currently.
Yeah, he's number 8.
Well, that's weird.
Well, the division's had some turnover as of late. So, a couple of fights here and there, and now the division's kind of been shaken up a little bit. Like, he's not beating Max Holloway. Bryce is not beating Max Holloway for sure. Like, he's not beating anybody past that. But Bryce probably fighting Brian Ortega would be interesting. Fighting Yair Rodriguez would be interesting. I don't think he wins any of those fights, but it would be nice to see him fight those guys. Just to see because he's like Colby Covington without the striking.
I would like to see Bryce versus Ortega. That'd be a good fight. I think Ortega would probably piece him up on the feet. That's pretty much a given for most of the guys in the top 10. But the one I really want to see is I want to see him rematch him versus Eloev. They were supposed to fight and they never did. And I think that would be a fucking grappling war.
Oh yeah, that's a good one actually.
What about Josh Emmett? He's kind of on his way. He'd be a rung up the ladder if you could take him out.
He's also floating in there. I heard somebody suggest feeding Bryce to who was it?
Arnold Allen.
Yeah, Arnold Allen. Someone said
Arnold Allen.
But see, the problem right now. They like to match up guys coming off of losses, so I don't know if they're going to do that.
Yeah, that's true.
But yeah, I don't think, as far as his ceiling goes, I don't think that Bryce has a well-rounded enough game to ever see a title. he's got skills, and it does seem like skills are growing, but I don't think that he's got what it takes, and he's not quite proficient enough in his area of expertise to Khabib guys, or just fucking absolutely ragdoll and maul everyone he comes across. Sooner or later, somebody's gonna catch him. But that's
Really did.
I fucking hate Bryce Mitchell though. That's a different topic for another time later in the show. I'm not a fan of the guy.
See, I quite like him, but then again, I don't listen to a damn thing he says. The only reason I listened to his fight talk on this one was because I knew we'd be talking about it in the show.
I just didn't get the whole there wasn't a man-made fire. I'm like, oh, okay, here we go. Like the Jesus thing didn't bother me because everybody says, like, what was it? Yeah, the joke was when Yoel Romero said, "No forget Jesus," and it was everyone thought no gay Jesus or some shit. I was like, oh, here we go. But it's common. It's just it was like, all right, here we go. Let's let the crazy guy go.
I don't know if you've heard this, no special, but on the podcast on Thursday, Bryce actually did go in, like, he's kind of leveled up the religious crazy. Like, not only did he reiterate the flat Earth, but he kind of shut down gravity and proved that wasn't real, and made a pretty good argument for why the apocalypse happens this week. Like, I think it was supposed to start last night.
Yeah, it was supposed to start last night. Yeah.
So because he won, now he brings in the apocalypse?
No, it was coming anyway, but now he's just fit to fight and more ready for battle.
Well,
something
about
the
apocalypse.
There's something about a comet shooting through a constellation and it signifying pregnancy, or I caught some of that Thursday Believe You Me episode with Dave, and yeah, he was on a different planet.
I skipped straight past that shit.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he actually.
I did too.
He posted on social media. It looked like he took his winnings and bought a bunch of Nikes and black suits and purple Kool-Aid. So let's see where this goes.
It's got to be a bit. It has to be a bit. There's no way he's that stupid.
Yeah, nobody's that stupid. He's like, gravity's not real, but east and west is right. Like,
you say that, but there was a guy who killed himself building his own rocket to prove that the world was flat. So people are that fucking stupid.
Oh my god, you were right. Oh my god. It's so sad, but funny. God damn it. I'm ready to move on. I'm done with this.
Yeah.
Before we move it along, does anybody else got any other fights from this card that they want to touch on? Anybody they wanted to highlight or anything like that?
Highlights, if we're doing fight of the night, I guess Marina Rodriguez versus Michelle Waterston was kind of a fun fight, just for the sheer levels of destruction that she imposed upon Michelle. Cause it looked like she was getting a wrestling game going on, and it might have been a kind of relatively boring lay and pray kind of fight. And then Rodriguez got up, and that was it. She just inflicted hell with elbows and knees, and we had that slightly strange stoppage at the, if I'm getting my fights in the right order, the ref stopped it with about 27 seconds to go in the first round to let the doctor come in and have a look. Why don't you just let her go back to a corner in 27 seconds and then the doctor can have a look at it? Why interrupt the fight at that point? I thought that was a bad bit of reffing, to be honest. I can't even remember. Was it Mark Smith who did that one, or was it someone else? I can't remember now.
I think it was Mark Smith.
Yeah, the refs were very dodgy all night in certain respects.
Yeah, here's what I don't understand. It's like they brought the ref in, but I don't think the ref was like looking at a cut or anything like that. It's like, is that a TKO? Like, what are you bringing the ref in for? Like, normally if they stop the fight and it's not to like look at a cut or something, then they don't stop the fight to just check if the fighter is okay. Like,
it was to look at the cut on her eye and see whether she could continue or not.
Yeah, well, she had been split open.
That white shirt turned very, very red.
Yeah, and well,
I saw a lot of blood. The cut didn't look that bad, but I don't know.
I think they're
They could have
afraid
just
of
waited,
it
like
being
Andrew
worse.
said.
I think they're afraid of it just being worse, and that's just the other thing too. Is like she looked fine trying to get her feet underneath her for her grappling game plan. She looked like she was executing it not to a T, but getting it to where the fight needs to be for her to win. She can no longer take damage. She can no longer compete with these bigger strikers or even just some of the division that you're looking at the rest of the division. I don't see a fight that she can win, and she's still even considered a top, or not a top, but she's a ranked fighter in this division. And I don't know if she's supposed to be.
She's too fucking small for straw weight. She still looks like an atom weight in there. That's where she used to fight, was at atom weight in Invicta.
Yeah.
Well, she looks like she still holds on a little bit of weight at like she could, like she's not out of shape and she's in shape, but she looks like she's, like you said, she's like a natural atom weight who's just not cutting.
Yeah. Yeah, I think she said that in the past. She's natural atom weight, but she wants to fight in the UFC, and they don't have atom weight, so.
I don't want to go on a tangent, but that's a shame. I think that since there's no 145, they should cut that division and bring in the atom weights.
Yeah. You're gonna open up a can of worms. I got some opinions on that.
I think a bigger discussion might be is Greg Jackson and Mike Wicklejohn shit coaches for never even like checking in on her, like asking if she was okay or anything like that. They just immediately went down and went to corner advice, and she was all kinds of fucked up after that first round. Like,
well, they should have probably thrown it.
If they would have stopped it in between the rounds, like nobody would have said nothing. They would have been like, "Yeah, that's kind of smart."
I don't know why they didn't. They should have just stopped it to begin with when she was getting literally pieced up for 30. Was it Danger? It was 30 seconds, right? Of just constant combos against the cage.
I think the referee stepped in very early in the second round because he arguably realised he'd messed up. So when Rodriguez got her mounted and landed a 2 or 3 ground and pound shots, the referee just jumped in and went, "That's enough. She's taken enough of a beating now."
Yeah.
And also, mistake by Michelle. She brought a bloody daughter to this event.
Yep.
She was in tears from rows. So bad mistake there, I would say. I don't know why a fighter would bring their child to a fight just in case they get the living crap beaten out of them as they do.
That's what it happened with Frankie Edgar in his last fight. He had his kids there, and of course we all know how that ended.
Usman with his kids when he got knocked out.
Yeah.
And then,
as a future reference, maybe don't bring your kids to the fights.
Maybe just keep them at home. Put a thing in the on TV, and when you're fighting, if your wife's there and your family and friends are there, that's fine. Like, but not your kids. Kids don't need to see you get your ass whipped.
If you're the opponent and you have any kind of heart, it's got to feel shitty for you too, because like you just battered this fucking person in front of their kids and like wife or.
Have you met some of these fighters? They don't give a shit.
That's why I said if you have any kind of heart.
Yeah, look at Izzy when he knocked Pereira out and shooting arrows on his corpse.
You actually think Marina missed a really good opportunity there. Like, when Watterson's kid was crying and she was like on the ground and all that, like, just imagine if she would have looked at the kid and pointed and then like pulled out arrows and started shooting them at Michelle.
Oh, wow.
That would have blown up on social media. She would have been a star. She would have got the next fight. It's like sometimes I wish these fighters would think a little bit more and take notes from fighters like Izzy and stuff, because that was a big story. It would have been a big story. It would have been fun.
Her new nickname would have been the Brazilian Witch. Just fucking taking souls.
Yeah.
Was that Bryce Mitchell's ex-girlfriend, the Brazilian Witch?
Oh my god. You know what? Let me go next. Let me go next real quick, because I did want to shout out Tim Dirty Bird Means for fucking putting on a fight of the night performance against Rafael Fialho. Andre Fialho, right?
Yes.
And I was on the edge of my seat. I don't know about you guys. This fight was fun to watch, and watching Tim put out that jab, counter, and then land those knees and elbows in the clinch. Oh my god, it was awesome to watch, and the fact that he got a win against a young guy. Granted, he's not a top welterweight contender, but Tim has found a way to stay relevant in this division. And if I'm going to put a fight together, let him and Matt Brown fight it out.
Ooh,
that's fun.
Yeah, that would be interesting.
Battle of the Legends.
Yeah.
Have they fought before?
Yep. Tim lost that one because Matt Brown was getting tooled up in the beginning and then managed to survive and then elbow him to death in the corner.
Yeah, why the fuck not? Let me get some of that in my life.
Oh yeah, I agree.
It looks like Fialo's probably on his way out of the UFC, isn't that his 4th loss in a row? I think I heard.
Well, he's
He
1
might
and 5.
be on the Blood Diamond plan where he gets another fight.
Well, he's a Kill Cliff guy. They usually have a soft spot for those guys. And then on top of it, too, I think he's 1 and 5, but his first fight was a loss to Michelle Pereira. And that was like, Pereira tried everything and anything that he could to try to finish him, and he could do nothing. Which is funny because now, Bilal can't really make it past the point of making it to the end.
I'd like to show a little love to Mizuki, who came back after her big layoff and got a nice little decision win over Hannah Goldie. Not that it really means too much, but it's just good to see her back and looking good and in the fight game again. And then a quick fuck you to Cody Brundage, you little bitch. For fucking taking that DQ win over Jacob Malkoon. That fucked me over in my picks, and yeah, fuck you, Cody.
You see, that kept the pick alive for me, so I was quite happy with that.
I did pick Cody, and I didn't realize it was going to be a DQ.
Let my wins however I can get them.
Right? I didn't understand that one. That one felt like it was weird because it was like, yeah, he got hit in the back of the head, but it's not like Malkoon is literally throwing hammers or is known to finish people.
Yeah, that's where there was no ill intent. It didn't look like he was, intending to do that. It looked like Brundage turned his head.
Mm-hmm. It was stupid. He shouldn't have thrown the elbow to begin with, but it wasn't like a fight-ending sequence where it was like he hit him in the spine and he paralyzed him and now he can't fight anymore. No, it was literally he hit him in the back of the head and he wanted nothing to do it with the fight anymore. He did take the fight on short notice, so maybe that had something to do with it.
I'd like to give a quick shout out. Like I kind of sent Michelle Waterson Gomez to hell a little bit, but I would like to comment on her fighting spirit and just how much, like how strong she is internally. Like she got the shit beat out of her, and she was ready to go back out for round 2. And I mean that's kind of been almost a little bit of a pattern recently. Like she's gotten the shit beat out of her in a couple of fights, and her fighting spirit is almost second to none. There's like no quit in her, and so I'm pretty impressed with that. But mostly, I really wanted to shout out Charles Jourdain in the Ricardo Ramos fight. He's a pirate, which is really fun. And, you don't see many of those in modern day, and he's kind of leaned full into that angle. So that's always a good time. And Charles Jourdain's always been known more as a striker and that kind of thing. But, he went in there, he got the submission, and Ramos used to be like a submission threat back in the day. So it's fun to see a primarily striking-based fighter get it. And there's a good lesson to be learned from this fight that I hope like the guys at ATT are listening. Like in a fight, if you guys like lock up, you can pull a guillotine. You can like grab a guillotine, but you don't have to jump down. Like you can just put your arm around there, and you don't necessarily just have to fall to your ass. Like first sequence or like earlier in the fight, Charles Jourdain actually like went for the guillotine position, but he didn't jump into it, and he got taken down, and he kind of fought with his arm there for maybe a minute and a half. And the commentary crew was actually kind of hard on him for like keeping his hand over there and not doing other things that he was supposed to be doing. But then the fight stands up again, and he puts his arm back around in the guillotine position, and Ramos gets the takedown. Once again, he didn't jump into a guillotine and get finished, but he falls with the takedown into the guillotine position, and he got it pretty quick. So I think it was an excellent performance from Jourdain. He's constantly growing. And he teaches a valuable lesson that you can go for the guillotine and you don't have to jump into it. Mike Brown.
Don't be silly. Jump a gilly.
Yeah.
Right?
I'll shout Shout out one more quick one. Mohammed Usman for maintaining this family tradition of being a dirty cheat.
That's just MMA.
Stabbed Collier in the eye, then gets 5 minutes off to recover, and then kind of gets the win. No, I mean, obviously slightly sarcastic there. He didn't mean to poke him in the eyes, I don't think. But it's just funny because the Usman brothers seem to be very good at cheating in fights and getting away with it.
Yeah. Cheats. All right. Nobody got anything else on this card?
I mean, obviously,
no, not really. Maybe a quick shout out to Brent Johns and his fight for looking like a middleweight 135 and still getting the job done. Like, it's actually kind of fun to see, like, gassed 135ers fight, like, on a rare occasion. Like, I actually kind of enjoyed that.
A little bit of juicy bantamweight action. Well, folks, for one of the few times all year, we are quickly approaching a dreaded dark weekend on the UFC schedule. No fights this upcoming Saturday, and for many of us, that leaves us whittling our thumbs, maybe up our butts, debating our next move. With this temporary lull in the action, how do you donks plan to spend your weekend? Dave, what are you going to do with no UFC?
I actually think I will go back on Saturday night and maybe watch some old fights and get a new eye on them and a new view on them just to kind of have some fun. But mostly I'm going to watch the Canelo Alvarez versus Charlo boxing fight Saturday night. I'm kind of interested in that. And I would like to see Charlo potentially get the upset and win. But the big news, the big thing for me is there's actually some good combat sports on Friday night. One is having a show on Amazon Prime, and it's actually a really good card. It's almost all females leading the card, and then you got like John Lineker and stuff. Friday night on Amazon Prime, there's like a good judo match. Like Daniel Kelly's fighting, Stan Fairtax is fighting. Lots of good Muay Thai. There'll be like some strawweight MMA. It's one of their mixed cards, but you know it's got a lot of big names on it as far as the females are concerned. And it's got like Edward Fulang on it, Amir Khan, some other big names. So that will actually be good combat sports on Friday night that many people won't know about because one kind of sucks at advertising.
That's actually a pretty good heads up there, though. I didn't. Thank you, Dave, for that update on one because I know what I'm going to be doing.
Wait. Don't thank me. Thank Chatri.
Chatri?
Yeah, thank Chatri. This is his word.
Well, thank you, Chatri, for this wonderful blessing on Friday night.
Chatri, bless.
Chatri, bless. Yeah, I'm definitely going to be tuning into that. I love me some Stamp Fairtex. I hope to see a stamp dance.
You will. You'll see 2 stamp dances at least.
Is Mikey Musumeci in action?
No, he's got a match coming up in a little while. He won't be on this card Friday.
Okay. Always on the lookout for Darth Rigatoni.
Yes.
Yeah, that's good. There's some one action on Friday night. For the most part, I'm probably just going to be hanging around the house, not doing nothing too specific. Probably watch some old fights myself, smoke a little bit of the reefer. Yeah, the usual. But all in all, not anything too crazy. Danger, what are you going to be doing?
I think there's only one answer, and that has to be Robert Whittaker's furious masturbation. No, seriously, I didn't know there was some one fights on Friday night, so I'll probably watch those. Other than that, alcohol, I guess, and maybe watch some old fights on Saturday night. I think we're on about having a bit of an old-time look back at Tony Ferguson to see whether he ever did stand a chance of beating Khabib. So maybe that. I don't know.
Well, I have a question for you. That brings up a good question. With this furious masturbation, are you like a dry guy or lube? Because if you're a dry guy, you might want to kind of tone it back a little bit.
That's a little too personal for this show.
Okay. Fine. You brought it up. You brought it up.
This is
Yeah, fair
called
point.
Just Bleed Radio, huh?
Don't use blood. That's gross.
There will be blood one way or another.
Well, yeah, you dry, furious masturbate. Of course, there's going to be some blood.
That was such a line by Robert Whittaker that day.
Such a great moment.
Well, Mr. No Special, what are your plans in sunny California?
Well, God willing that the weather doesn't change for the worse, depending on, we're heading into fall and we don't really have winter per se, but, you sneeze wrong and there'd be a little bit of rain and overcast and whatnot. So nothing too crazy, but I think usually if it's not me working more or less a lot, so I'll probably, because I'm not working every Saturday, but I work most Saturdays, and I'll say if I'm not watching fights, I'm usually out with the family doing stuff. So just depends. I'm just along for the ride and probably pound a few beers on Saturday, and then maybe we'll see what happens. Get no fresh. We'll see. We'll see.
See what happens.
Right.
Yeah. Seems all in all, it's probably going to be a chill weekend for the boys here at Just Bleed Radio.
Yeah.
All right, donks. Now we're going to try something a little bit different here. We're going to debut a brand new segment, and we're tentatively titling this Out for Blood. And what we're going to do here is we're each going to get up to 5 minutes to log complaints towards any fighter or active entity in the MMA world here. So that being said, I'm going to go first. Bryce Mitchell, you absolutely suck, and I'm out for your blood. Listen, there are very few things in life that grind my gears harder and longer than an inbred, foot-faced, backwoods hick who thinks toting around a Bible makes him some kind of new age prophet. This certified Jan Sixer spends one day recording raps in his double wide about cooking up bricks, and the very next day he's all over TV and social media preaching the gospel and espousing the good word. The hypocrisy is only matched by his unending reservoir of boneheaded remarks and cockamamie conspiracy theories. The earth may not be flat, but the fucking graph representing this hillbilly's brain activity is. You can fucking imagine for a split second, if you would, the UFC brass allowing any fighter of another religion to bring their book of praise into the octagon? You can't even have a fucking flag. Absolutely not. Let's see how smoothly it goes over when a Magomed Muhammadov wants to bring the Quran into the cage. White bread America would have a total conniption, and they'd boycott the UFC faster than Bud Light and Disney World. Which may actually be the best place for Bryce, because the dude's a cartoon and a laughing stock. Yo, Thug Nasty, I'm out for your blood.
That's I love that.
Yeah, that was pretty funny.
That was good. Oh God. I had a lot of little chuckles in there. I was trying to hold in my laughter as best as I could.
No, the more the fucking merrier.
That was good. You had a lot of little good one-liners in there. I loved it.
Yeah, I don't think mine's going to be as funny as that, but it's going to last a bit longer. So.
You want to go next, Andrew?
I can do if you want. I think you're scheduled to go next, but I don't mind going next. Take your pick.
Oh yeah, it was my bad. Let me not fuck this up. All right.
Do you want me to lead you in, or you just want to go for it?
I'll just go. I think I got this.
All right.
I have a yeah. All right. All right. Well, my victim is Iron Michael Chandler. Not for your blood, motherfucker. Why are you waiting so goddamn long to fight this wannabe fucking cokehead just to fucking maybe get a payday? Guess what? Red Penny Night fucking left, and it's fucking gone. It's down the road, and it's out like a fart in the fucking wind. It's gone. It's over. It is what it is. You blew a fucking year just to wait for this guy to fucking come back. Guess what? He's not going to fight you in December. I don't even think he's going to fight you in January. It is what it is. We fucking, the boat has sailed, Michael. You should be fighting in the division that you were fucking championing in Bellator. You are 2-3. You're 37 years old, and you should be fighting contenders, holding on to your spot, because guess what? You haven't fought in a while, and the rest of the division is finally moving. Justin Gaethje just knocked out Dustin Poirier. What the fuck have you done? Oh, wait, that's right, nothing. God forbid you fucking at least show us you're still worth something. I don't know how much they're fucking paying you, and I know you've done a little bit of commentary at the desk. Look at me and Michael Chandler. I'm just here trying to be professional. Good for you, you fucking idiot. Why don't you just get out there and fucking fight like you're supposed to, instead of just hoping that, oh, please, let little Red Penny Night come back to me. You'll do what you're fucking told. You do what you're fucking told. That's what's going to fucking happen to you. You're just going to fucking vanish like a fucking fart in the wind, and nothing's going to come of this fucking stupid rivalry that you have with fucking Conor McGregor, because God forbid they do a fucking show and you still can't even get the guy to fucking show up for you. Thank you.
Austin hitting the F-bomb record for the show there.
That's what you got? That's it?
That's it. I had to just, it's short and sweet.
Short and sweet. I like it. Short and sweet.
He's out for your blood, Michael Chandler.
Yeah. Say it, Austin. Whose blood are you out for?
I'm out for Michael Chandler's blood.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm going to go after Gamrot a little bit from last night's main event. So, Mateusz Gamrot, I am out for your blood. But here's the thing. Like, I don't like blood. That shit's gross as fuck. So I'm going to need you to, like, go to a blood bank and get that shit processed and packaged and all the proper hazmat material before you get it to me. Here's the thing. I thought you did okay in the fight, but you won by freaking injury. Don't be fucking celebrating like a goddamn jackass, like you just fucking knocked him out or submitted him or something. Don't run around the ring, yell. I mean, that shit happens all the time, and it's disrespectful and it's annoying because you didn't really win. It was TKO injury. I know he claimed that he was like practicing his defense, and his goal in the fight was for like Fiziev to hurt his kicks on his elbows because he was training it. But like that wasn't even the leg that got injured, and he's kind of just full of shit. Like, don't be celebrating over injuries and shit. Be respectful. Like, you didn't win. You fucking stop that shit. It's fucking annoying. It's disrespectful. Enough. No more. Other than that, you might be all right.
So subtle. It's like a subtle burn, and I like it.
Yeah. Well, like, I wanted to go harder on him, but I watched the fight again, and then in the post-fight interview, he wasn't, like, that bad, but it's, like, such a stupid move. Like, I think someone did that when JDS had a match recently, and he injured himself, and the dude was, like, running around, like, yeah, well, look at this, you know, and it's like, dude, it wasn't you, it was him. Like, shut the fuck up.
Like he did the injury to himself.
Yeah. Yeah, he did, and he did do the injury himself. Like, shut up, Mateusz.
Stupid way.
Fuck you and fuck your blood.
Yeah, fuck that dumb name of yours.
I think that just leaves us Dan.
Yeah, save the last for best, Mr. Danger Mouse.
Yeah, okay, guys. You made the foolish mistake of giving me a lot of time to prepare for this, so here we go.
I'm on board, man.
So here we go. As a proud Englishman, it gives me great pleasure to say I'm out for your blood, you cheese-eating surrender monkey, Monsieur Cyril Gane, for his recent comments on the MMA Hour where he talked to Ariel about what he wanted in his future. It seems to me that a lot of the comments I made in our post-UFC Fight Night Paris show are coming home to roost. I said in that show that Gane had abandoned 2 promising careers in football and basketball, and I said that he could potentially have made a career in both. He's an absolute unit of an athlete, gifted with a physique that probably makes a lot of other professional athletes jealous, never mind mere mortals like us. He just wasn't willing to make the sacrifices that were required. So, as I said then, when you compare how tough his life has been to, say, Francis Ngannou's, it's a joke. I mean, admittedly, not every fighter has to mine sand as a child, but many, many UFC stars have started out their early MMA careers cleaning their gyms and sleeping in them because they were too poor to do anything else. And they really wanted to train and were willing to do anything to make that dream come true. For Cyril, it seems he just wants an easy route to his desires. He doesn't seem to want to make sacrifices. He did talk about how his life is now just training and family time, but it doesn't give me the same level of belief I have when Aspinall talks about how he's running his life in preparation for a title shot. Following Cyril's loss to Bones, Khabib invited him to Dagestan to work on his wrestling. He hasn't gone. He just stays and trains in Paris. Nothing wrong with that, but I haven't heard about a ton of heavyweight wrestlers being dragged into Paris to train with him. Again, unlike Aspinall, who now trains with an absolute, a whole bunch of heavyweights, the best ones he can find in England. So anyway, first Ariel asks him about fighting Tom Aspinall, and Cyril says, nah, I'm not interested. It doesn't make sense to him or his management. He doesn't want to fight someone lower ranked than him because it's too risky to his title chances. Tom's wrestling is very good, and it's a real threat to Gan. And for Gan, he regarded his fight against Spivak as a risk, because of the wrestling, and feels he's now proven his wrestling ability has improved, and he doesn't have to prove it again. So, and incidentally, I don't see how beating Spivak earned Gan a jump in the rankings. I can't remember how Spivak was ranked before the fight, but he's now at number 7. So beating him puts Gan above Pavlovich now. And Pavlovich, who is on a 6-win streak at heavyweight in the division. How the hell is that justifiable? You'll have to ask Dana on that, I guess. So then Ariel asks him about fighting Pavlovich, and Gan doesn't want to fight him either because his power is so dangerous. So I hate to break this to Gan, but you're in the heavyweight division of the UFC, a group of guys who are the most dangerous men on the planet. I know we often joke about the heavyweight division being pretty bad as far as talent goes, but when you're talking the top 5 or so, these guys are pretty good. They're not just fat brawlers, especially the new crop of fighters that are coming through right now. So I understand that fighters don't want to go down the rankings for an opponent, but it's part of the game. Just because you're number 1 contender at the moment does not mean you will hold on to that position. Just ask Pavlovich. Fight between Pavlovich and Aspinall right now would almost certainly put the winner at number 1 contender, and maybe even Tom beating Curtis Blades would be enough to have him jump the queue. So what's sauce for the goose may also be sauce for the Gan. Especially in a division where it's very likely there may be a vacant belt after Stipe versus Jones fight. So although with Gan as number 1 contender, Bones may stay around with just to whoop his ass again, which would be hilarious, quite frankly. But if John does as expected, wins and retires, there'll have to be a fight for that belt between 2 guys, and that would leave us with 3, maybe 4 viable contenders: Gan, Pavlovich, Aspinall, and maybe Blades. Personally, and yes, obviously I'm biased because I'm English, I think it should be Tom versus Sergey for the vacant belt. And if that happens, then great. But if not, then Gan will have to face one of them. So unless Gan is thinking he can win the belt and then fight them. So I don't know. He seems to be either unaware or deluded about the situation that's going to unfold in the very near future. He's not going to just be made champion. He's going to have to fight for it. It seems pretty clear to me that Gan doesn't fancy fighting either of them, which is not a very good look for someone who wants to be champion. You know for a fact that if you ask Pavlovich or Aspinall if they're willing to fight just about anyone, they'd say yes. Now, admittedly, neither of those is number 1 contender at the moment, but you know for a fact they wouldn't give off the same level of respect or perhaps what you could perceive as fear about facing any other fighter in the division. Tom Aspinall has already said that sooner or later they're going to have to fight each other, so he doesn't care how it happens. When it comes, it comes. Gan, however, seems to think he deserves a title shot, despite the fact that he was just destroyed in, 2 minutes by John Jones. So, well, Cyril, I don't believe you do deserve a title shot right now, and you should be very careful about saying you don't want to fight someone because Dana is not fond of such attitudes in the UFC. And I'm not sure right now you have enough Dana White privilege to be safe. can easily see a situation where Bones wins, retires, and then Dana sets up 2 matches to decide which fighters will compete for the belt, which would be the 4 previously mentioned, Gan, Pavlovich, Aspinall, and Blades, in some kind of order, with the winner from each bout facing the other winner for the title. So even if he decides on Gan versus whomever, it's going to be Pavlovich or Aspinall that he's going to have to face. So you're going to have to eventually, Cyril. So if you truly believe you deserve to be champion, you can beat them now. So stop being such a bloody wimp. Anyway, that's it. That's my bloodletting over with.
Mouse is on fire.
It's so proper. I love it.
Like I said, you gave me a lot of time to write shit down, so I had time to write it down. I had a chance to read it out and time it that I could fit it into 5 minutes, which I think I'm pretty close to there.
Now, I got a quick question for you. Do you think his management plays a factor in that at all?
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, for sure. He mentioned it.
I don't know if he's managed by like Fernand Lopez or he was just his coach, but like I saw in February he was looking for managers on Twitter, like through some contests. So he might have some like just shit manager that's leading him astray. But I don't know. I think he made a lot of points.
Well, most managers at certain points are basically like, we don't want to take anything that's less than what our threshold should be for us to have a big payday or as leading us to the title. So if his management is telling him, which could be Ferdinand, we don't want to fight anyone below us because we think our next fight could be for the title, which he wouldn't necessarily be wrong in, but no one's looking to have gone as the next title contender, considering, you know, he just happened to beat Spivak. Spivak was decent on a decent little streak there, but, you know, you have Pavlovich, you have Aspinall. Hell, we don't even know what's going to happen with John and Stipe. Like Danger was saying, either of them could retire or one of them, you know, John probably sticks around for one more maybe. But even then, it's just like they're willing to wait in a division that can't afford to.
I like that. I like that a lot. I like how you wrapped that up very succinctly.
Succinctly? Was that a word? Were we just saying noises?
Well,
sorry, I'm a smooth brain.
No, that's better than what I was saying about Michael Chandler. You know, I didn't really give him any time to defend himself, and I'm pretty sure I just shat all over his entirety of his career.
All right, guys. Well, that was our new segment, possibly recurring segment, called Out for Blood. Depending on what you donks think of this when you hear this podcast, let us know how you feel. We can bring this segment back in the future. And next up, do you have something to say?
I said, Like, yeah, hell yeah. Like, you like it, don't like it, mediocre, let us know.
Yeah, we will take
I just watched.
No one asked you.
It's okay, that's fine.
Okay.
Okay, with that, we're going to do our usual Discord donk shout out of the week, where we take a particular donk from the Discord that we'd like to show a little bit extra love to, and we're going to shout them out, and then any other social media or various other shout outs that you might have. So let's go ahead and pitch this thing over to the mouse in the house. Danger, who you shouting out?
I could go a couple of ways on this. I could actually roast someone, but I'm too nice, so I won't do that. Instead, I'm going to shout out, what was his name now? All Right Guy, that was it. A long-time lurker who popped into the chat very briefly. He didn't stop around very long, but it's always nice to see a lurker call in. And the other guy I'd shout out would be Barter for his recent meme with the Bryce versus the Devil. Which is absolutely hilarious. If you call into the Discord and have a look at that, that's fantastic. So yeah, that's about it for me this week, I think.
All right, well, I have a couple of Discord shout outs. First, I'm going to go kind of a different direction. I would actually like to shout out Mr. Lazybed for just being an all-around great guy on the MK Discord and putting in the hard work behind the scenes, keeping the show on track and helping us with keeping a flow going and having an outline and all that. And he's just generally a great guy to be around most of the time. So I have to give him a shout out. Plus, I got to shout out Fozzie the Bear, or Big Ogre Mike. He's now known as from the MK Discord. He is just the best guy. He's had some fun arguments. And, honestly, there's been some members that he's been debating with that really needed to get put in their place about their colonialism views. So it's nice to see someone, putting in the hard work and being the hero we need. So Big Ogre Mike, great job. You keep up the good work. Chef's kiss. And then I would like to.
He's a loyal listener too. He's tuned in every episode since day one. So shout out, Mike. Go ahead.
Yeah, he is a loyal listener too. That guy rocks. And then I would like to give a shout out to a little known podcast called the Luke Thomas Live Chat. Now, many members won't know, many Morning Combat fans won't know that Luke actually has his own live chat once a week if he's up to it and the technical issues allow for it. And it's actually a good time with a lot of interaction. And for the time being, you can get in on this live chat for only $5 and you can become a member and you get some custom emojis and, your name's a different color. And for the low price of $10, you get a free question every week that Luke has to answer and the same emojis that you get for $5. And you get to be a friend of Luke Thomas. So when you parties and all that, you could be like, I'm friends with Luke Thomas. They're like, yeah, sure. You open up the YouTube and be like, look, right here, friend. It's a fun podcast that I actually think Morning Combat fans should listen to because it covers some of the same stuff. It's a little bit more interactive with the chat. And it's just overall a great time. And you don't have to pay, but if you want to be a friend, unfortunately you do. But like I said, it comes with perks and emojis and all that. And it's a great show. I think everyone should give it a try. And that's
Dave out here shilling for Shattery and Luke now.
Yeah.
This is true. All right. Well, I think that leaves me, correct? I'll shout out two gentlemen who have been very chill with me as of late, and one of which hates the videos that I've posted or the links to things or images that I've posted on the Discord, and is just terrified of some of the things that I have to deal with. It's Mr. Uber, who also changed my color, so thank you for that, Uber. That was awesome. Thank you. And Warden. So when I see their reactions and I harass them and I continuously harass them, it's hilarious to see the reactions and the fact that Uber himself said, I refuse to look at it. I see the thing and I just don't look at it. I can't. I say nope. I thank you guys legitimately for being good sports and allowing me to harass you in good fun. So
both great guys.
Yes.
Great guys, never met him. All right, and with me going up last here, I'm gonna take this a little bit different direction. I'm gonna shout out my guy, the voice of the UFC, John Anik, my idol, my hero. I'm a big time Anik stan. I love the Anik Florian podcast. Doesn't get enough love at all. Their view count is always really low. Chats are super dead. If you're trying to get in on the ground floor of a podcast, now's the time to get in with Anik and Florian, even though they've been around for several years now. It's a good time. It's a great show. Big shout out to John Anik and Kenny Florian and all the boys over at Anik Florian. And then as far as the Discord itself, I'd like to say paging Dr. Daz. Shout out Daz. Daz is our guy in the Discord and also in the MK live chats. Really good guy, heart of gold. Just a hell of a dude all around and in general. And also Mr. Dead Wrong. He's fucking always on point with the dead wrongs on Fridays on MK. So shout out Daz Riccio.
Yeah.
Great guy. Even better pediatrician. Mid surfer. I think he's kind of a mid surfer. Don't tell him that. I'm just kidding, Daz.
Aloha and mahalo. That's gonna do it, you dastardly degenerates. Yet another episode in the can. We hope you enjoyed today's show, and as always, we ask that you do the usual like, subscribe, share a bit, and help us get this product out to the masses. You can catch us back here every Sunday with more fun content and programming to come. Until next time, don't drink the water down in Arkansas.
Hey, Austin. Austin,
Yes.
I'm out for your blood.
Oh, fuck you, Dave.
What? Fuck you! All right.
You're the one who told me.
Fuck you, dude.
Okay.
I love you.
Okay, bro. Okay.
The preceding production has been brought to you by the Just Bleed Radio Network. Hosted by LazyBed. Edited and produced by Super Dave Fairtex. Analysis and commentary by Danger Mouse and No Special. Proudly presented in association with the Morning Combat Discord.